Well, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Midgard Golf. And we're still out here today at the Sandia Golf Club in Albuquerque, New Mexico for the back nine here. And boy, let me tell you, it's a gorgeous back nine, especially 18. What a finishing hole indeed. And yeah, I just want to thank you guys so much for joining us for another episode on the channel here. And if you're liking the content and you haven't thrown us a subscribe yet, good time to do so. Pops and I have got some real good stuff planned over the next couple of years. Really, we're gonna be putting up some really epic content. That's for sure. So, not gonna want to miss that. Some really cool courses overseas, over the pond, over the Atlantic Ocean. There, I won't tell you yet where it is, but yeah, it's gonna be super awesome. So anyway. This back nine here on this beautiful venue here, starting off with a par 4, number 12 handicap, playing for us, and we're playing at 2 up here at 350 yards and tipping out at 421. The middle tee box is in between us there is 402. So yeah, just a gorgeous opener to the back nine here. Beautiful lake right in front of you, offering up some forced clearance, and the further back you play, the more of that lake you're going to have to clear. So yeah. And the fairway there pretty much runs perpendicular to the angle of the tee boxes. So definitely a cut is what you're going to want. I mean, you can hit a draw, sure, no problem. But, I mean, in order to really put a draw out there and, put yourself in a good position to get up on the screen with ease, you're really going to have to take a severely out-of-bounds line to the right and then pull it back from there. So pretty risky. But faders delight, no doubt. Obviously, you've got 2 bunkers right there in front of you, just over the lake, and on the other side of the fairway. That'll be the left side of the fairway as you make that right turn and head towards the green. And once you get up to the green, there's going to be another bunker to the front right of the green, and one of them kind of directly behind the green as well. So, yeah, for the strategy here, I mean, the left side of the fairway, I'm saying, is going to be more favorable for your approach shot if you can get it there. But, yeah, nothing wrong with the right side either. You're just going to have to flirt with that bunker over on the right front of the green in order to make your approach attempt. So, driver in hand, I'm hitting cuts, so that's good news for me. Let's hit that big old cut out there and see if we can't float this green up on there in 2. Let's check it out. All right, ladies and gents, and here we are heading off to the 11th hole. Coming out swinging strong at the beginning of the back nine here with the number 2 handicap on the course and hardest hole on the back nine. Big old par 5 here, playing for us at 591 yards and tipping out at 655. And the tee box in between those is 630. So Very strong par 5 indeed. However, though the yardage is pretty long there, the hole itself turns pretty sharply downhill after the dogleg to the left that you can see right in front of you from the tee box there. So definitely a draw would be the smart play here, especially if you're going to try to catch any flavor of speed slot in order to make your way sort of unduly long down this fairway here. But no harm in playing a fade over there off the left line and then bringing it back in from there. Although, excuse me, if you do that, the hole will certainly be longer for you for having done so. That said, though, the further down you get this fairway, the narrower it gets. So, yeah, take heed of that, too. The widest part of the fairway is that which you can see right in front of you from the tee box. So, you got that to think about. Let's see here. For your likely second shot on this hole here, if you don't absolutely pound one down there and get yourself something like a 400-yard drive, you're going to have some desert terrain that kind of creeps from the right side of the fairway on into the fairway and really skinnies it up for a second. But just on the other side of that hill, it actually opens back up into some grass. So if you clear that hill on the right, if you happen to leave one out a little bit, you'll be A-okay on the other side of it. Once you make your way to the green, where there's kind of a secondary dog leg there in the hole that turns you to the green, it's going to get real skinny, but that should only be about a flip wedge for you thereafter in order to get there, and that is where you will find your only bunker trouble on this hole, just to the front right of the green. So, without further ado, driver in hand, and I can't really hit a pretty draw to save my life at the moment, so I'm playing the cut line off the left and just bringing it back in from there. So let's give it a rip and see what we can do. All right, ladies and gents, and here we are heading off to the 12th hole in our first par 3 of this here back 9, and the easiest hole on the course. I love how they do that. You go from the number 2 handicap to the number 18. That's beautiful. So it's like stress and then a little reprieve. That's nice. So just a short par 3 for us, playing for us at 141 yards and tipping out at 178, and the tee box in between at 171. So kind of lengthy from the tips there, but shouldn't be all that difficult for someone who decides to play the tips at 178 there. So yeah, really wouldn't even be that bad for me, honestly. So yeah, but 141, that's certainly nice. Just a little gap wedge for me, so super cool. And what you see is what you get. You got a fair amount of desert terrain to clear to get to the green. Not a whole lot of room to miss long nor short. unless you kind of miss, well, from our angle, sort of to the right and short. But apart from that, both of the fairway bunkers are kind of in the back there, one back left, one back right, as you can see there. So, yeah, that's pretty much all you got to worry about. Not a whole lot. At the yardage, I mean, let's see here. The fairway bunker on the right is smaller, so less of a chance you're going to get in it if you happen to miss right than the one on the left. So I'm saying that the good miss is probably to the left on this hole, as long as you don't miss overly left and long and find yourself up in those thick trees back there. So pull the right stick for the yardage and swing away. Let's check it out. And like I said, gap wedge in hand for me. All right, ladies and gents, and here we are heading off to number 13. Just a modest little par 4 for us here, playing for us at 348 yards, which is the same yardage as the next tee box back, so just, same tee box for this hole. And then tipping out at 387. So, yeah, this hole plays pretty close to number 10. So if you played number 10 well, and you can remember the swings that you took to play number 10 well if you did it, then play this one, I would say, pretty much the same way. No water to carry here, but you do have a pretty healthy amount of just nasty kind of drop-off desert terrain that's pretty much going to behave the same way as water would anyway. So outside of, you might find your ball down there, but you're probably not going to want to go check it out and risk, meeting up with some snakes or whatnot down there. That said, though, a little more bunker trouble this time. You've got one bunker about halfway down the fairway off to the left side, still this time, just like number 10, except it's a little further down now. And then as you make your way to the green is definitely more heavily guarded by bunkers, with one bunker kind of off to the left from the green angle there, the green aspect, and about, I'd say 30 yards short or so. And then two bunkers guard the green just to the green side, one to the front right and one to the front left. So that's what you're dealing with here. So driver in hand, I'm just going for the big old cut again, since, that's the way. Let's give it a rip and see what we can do. right, ladies and gents, and here we are heading off to the 14th hole. Another par 4 here. That's got some kind of sneaky trouble up there off to the right side specifically, and it's a dogleg left, so if you can pull off a nice pretty draw out there, then that's definitely the shot that you're going to want to take. But blind to you from the tee box is a nice big lake up there on the right side, and if you're a big enough hitter from whatever tee box you decide to play this day, it may or may not be in play. So, yeah, be leery of that. However, if you're playing from the tips there, the hole is 457 yards. The next one up from that's 416, and that's 353. So, yeah, from our tee box, the water is certainly in play. You go back further than we are, then that might kind of take it out of play for the drive there. So that's kind of the reward you get for playing further back on this hole, I suppose. But for your second shot there, if you do happen to be off to the right-hand side, then, yeah, you're going to be contending with that water to get up on the green. And, yeah, that water pretty much stretches most of the way through the green and doesn't really stop until the very back of it. So, yeah, no matter where you miss, if you miss short, then you're probably going to be swimming. Let's see here. Apart from that, you've got one bunker kind of to the back right, or excuse me, the back left of the green. And yeah, that's about it. So really pretty hole, especially with the hotel in the back there as we're starting our way on back to the clubhouse here with this hole. And the tee box here is kind of the furthest point out on the back nine. So without further ado, driver in hand. Can't see that lake, but yeah, I'm just taking the left line and hitting the cutout there anyway, because that's pretty much all I got. So let's give it a rip and see how we do. All right, ladies and gents, and here we are on the 15th hole. And quite a tricky par 4 this one is indeed. In my opinion, I think this might be, to me, the hardest hole on the back nine. Just because, for most players, you're kind of taking driver out of play here for the way that the hole is shaped. So right in front of you, you've got a pretty sizable fairway that widens up the further down you get it. But you're going to run out of fairway before long, so you kind of have to pick your poison, especially relative to which tee box you're playing and how sizable of a hitter you are, in order to keep your ball in play and not go all the way through the fairway directly head on and off into the desert terrain beyond, or into the tee box that awaits you right at the, tee box, sand trap that awaits you right at the end of the at the fairway as well. So after you do make your tee shot here, then the rest of the hole you can also see from the tee box over there off to the left. And you could, if you wanted to, just execute a left face, or kind of a half left face, I guess, on the tee box there, and then pull driver and then go straight over all of that desert terrain there in order to get to the kind of, second portion of the hole here. That'll give you a nice wedge in. But oh boy, if you miss anywhere short, kind of left or right, because it's pretty narrow up there, especially for that distance, then you're not going to be happy. So yeah, definitely a layup hole. But that said, if you don't lay it up pretty tight to the end of that fairway and hug the left side, then you might have as much as like 240, 250 yards to try to get on this green in regulation. So yeah, as you'll see here, I'm pulling 4-iron off the tee box here, and then for my second shot, I ended up having to hit a 6-iron to get up on the green. So yeah, it's about 230 yards for me to get up there after a decent draw actually on my 4-iron there. And when you do get to that second sort of chunk of the hole there where you've got green grass, you've also got a series of 3 bunkers that are guarding the green as well, kind of to the front from the tee box perspective. So if you are trying to go for the green, or go for that second part of the hole from the tee box there, then you're going to have a nice string line of bunkers that might prevent you from getting anywhere near the green anyway. Especially if you end up at the furthest one away from the green, that could land you with like a 50-yard bunker shot to try to get on the green in regulation from there. So, and the only comfortable one is right up next to the green, and good luck to you trying to get that in one shot. So anyway, a lot to say on this hole, but it's a tricky one. So anyway, like I said before, 4-iron in hand here. Let's give it a rip and see what we can do. All right, ladies and gents, and here we are heading off to the 16th hole in the last par 3 of our day here, and kind of a lengthy one at that. But before I get into that, how about that 6-iron on the last hole? Huh? I just got to gloat for a second. That might be one of the best 6-irons I've ever hit in my life to get on that green in regulation, despite the yardage I had standing in front of me there. That was pretty nice. Yeah, tough hole there. But anyway, this hole here. So playing for us at 175 yards, and the next tee box back from us is one and the same, also 175. So again, we might as well have been playing the one-up tees here. And then the tips are at 208. So quite a lengthy par 3 indeed. But that said here, so you've got some force carry right in front of you of all that desert terrain. And then after that, not a whole lot to worry about. Just one lone bunker there off to the left, and that's about it. So that said, though, I mean, the green is a little bit on a plateau there. So, yeah, be leery of that. And, yeah, well, you're going to see what I do here because I'm hitting an 8-iron at this hole here. But yeah, if you spin it too hard, then, well, you might find yourself all the way at the bottom of that hill, just like you're about to see demonstrated. So anyway, but if you go a little long there, I mean, you've got a tiny bit of support there so far as rough grass to catch your ball, and then a couple of big trees there off to the left and right. But that's, yeah, not a whole lot to worry about. So all in all, not all that crazy of a par 3 outside of the length. So without further ado, like I said, 8 iron in hand, let's give it a rip and see what we can do on this modestly lengthy par 3. Let's check it out. All right, ladies and gents, and here we are heading off to the 17th hole and our final par 5 for our day here out at the Sandia Golf Club in Albuquerque, New Mexico, attached to the absolutely gorgeous Sandia Resort and Casino there. So, anyway, short par 5 for us this time, only 479 yards for us, and tipping out at 601, and the tee box in between those two is 539. So, yeah, pretty short. No matter who you are there. And I mean, this is about as much as a grip it and rip it hole as you can possibly hope for. I mean, you've got desert trouble there off to the left, but for a fair amount of the fairway off to the right there, you actually have an adjacent hole. So yeah, you've got all the room in the world to miss to the right. The only thing that you got to watch out for are the bunkers off to the right there. So yeah, you've got a couple of bunkers, or a collection of bunkers that actually belong kind of to a different hole. Yeah, off to the right there. And then one short right that belongs to this hole. And then way down there to the right, still lining the cart path, is another fairway bunker. And then after that, you've got another fairway bunker that's kind of shortly in front of that one that is about, I want to say about 60, 70 yards short of the green. And lateral with that one, that last bunker there, off to the right there, but off to the left side of the fairway, is a collection of 3 bunkers down there. But for the left side of the hole, otherwise, no bunker trouble. So the hole from the angle of the tee box is kind of a dogleg right indeed. But if you do play the left side of the fairway and kind of forego, taking advantage of the miss that you could have with the adjacent hole there off to the right, and you keep it in play really nicely, then you could be rewarded with a really good look on the green, and B, no bunker trouble to play with until you kind of get up there near the green. So anyway, certainly a gettable par 5. So, yeah, let's give it a rip and see what we can do. I'm just going to swing for the fences here with this old driver and see if I can't get some distance on one. So, let's give it a rip and check it out. All right, ladies and gents, and here we are heading off to the 18th hole. And what a beautiful hole it is indeed. I mean, with the casino in the background there, the hotel and casino, and just the beautiful landscape of the fairway set before you there, kind of the infinity fairway. And it's dogleg right hole, by the way. And just everything. And as you make your way to the green, you've got the kind of beautiful lake with a waterfall feature there off to the left, and then that lake sort of extends behind the green as well. So anyway, I mean, some water trouble to play with if you happen to yank one or just send one way too far. But apart from that, that water's not too much to worry about, I'm saying. So downhill also for pretty much, well, about half the hole, I'm going to say. Yeah. Once the dog leg hits you there, kind of halfway through the hole off to the right, then the rest of the hole is going to be downhill. So, yeah, beautiful hole to finish up, that's for sure. So far as bunker trouble is concerned, probably right around where you're going to be looking to land your ball out in the fairway there. There's a bunker kind of in the middle of the hole and kind of off to the right. So middle right of the fairway, you've got your first bunker trouble. And then you won't see another bunker again until you get up to the green, where you'll have two guardian bunkers off to kind of the front right of the green. So, but yeah, apart from that, it's just a gorgeous finisher. Yeah, take a minute on the green there to shake hands with the folks that you've been playing with all day, no doubt, and enjoy the moment as you come off this absolutely gorgeous course out here at the Sandia Golf Club in Albuquerque, New Mexico. And so I've got the driver in hand. I mean, a cut is what you want on this hole, so that's what I'm going for here. So let's give it a rip and see what we can do. And until next time, as always, I hope that all of you have an absolutely marvelous day.